writers, and welcome first-time viewers to the Books by Adrian author platform. And this is Tuber Book Club. And this is a very special episode where we're going to interview Richard Holiday, the writer of Nightmare Tenant, the book that we just finished reading and discussing just last week. So we are very excited to talk to Richard today. I will be joined by some panelists, including Barrett Laurie. Jenna O'Malley is on the way as well. And we're going to talk to this guy and see what's going on with this book. I want to say hi to everybody in the chat. Make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. What else? Yes, Sunday will be the last episode of Write the Damn Story. And the last episode for this season. And then July, we're taking a hiatus from the channel. I may do sprints occasionally if I'm up for it, but for the most part, the channel will be silent during July. I will communicate with everybody through Instagram and other means. The newsletter, of course, sign up for the newsletter to stay up to date with everything. And speaking of the newsletter, sign up for the Tuber Book Club if you're not yet a member. If you want to vote for what book we are reading when we come back. We will be returning in August. We'll be reading the new book, whatever that turns out to be. I don't actually know yet because I just posted the poll today, so we'll see. I'm going to let it roll for about a week or so. And I'll announce it somehow before we get there. And yeah, we're going to read a new book in August. Probably 2 episodes for that one as usual. And then the follow-up interview with the author, if the author is up for it, whoever that turns out to be. All right. Thank you all so very much for being here. Let's get out first and foremost my co-panelist, Mr. Barrett Laurie. Barrett, hello.
How are you, my friend?
Howdy. How are you, sir? I am good.
Your intro scared my dog out of here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was like, wow, that's really spooky. Like, it woke her up and she ran out of the room. And I was like,
yeah,
wow.
She was like, I don't like the vibes in here.
Yeah,
I'm out.
Like, I'm not vibing with this at all. Yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm glad to be here. This is fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. You were here for the first episode of Nightmare Tenant, and not the second one.
It's new to me. I haven't worked in 2 years, so I'm out of practice of having to work hours. So I'm like, damn it.
I never stopped working when quarantine went down. I work at a hotel, so I've been working the whole. I never noticed, but a lot of people seem to be in that boat.
I know. I'm like, oh man, I'm out of practice.
Back to reality. This is no
exactly.
fun.
You guys are like digging into my fun time.
Well, before we bring out the guy, let's go ahead and cover what you would have shared with us last week had you been here. Any thoughts at all on the second half of Nightmare Tenant, the book as a whole?
Well, so first of all, the second half I thought was in line with what I thought of the first half, which, like you and I talked about last time, there was a few things that I didn't love so much in the first half, which we talked about. The drug thing, and then how I would have loved more like blood and gore. And then in the second half, it's kind of funny when you broke it up into 2 and I read it in 2 versions. The second half seemed to deliver a little more for me on this scary factor, and gave me more of what I wanted there. And then I always love the killing the kid. Like, that was probably something we're going to talk about. It's just, I love it. It's part of his brand. And so we're gonna visit about that. But the book overall, I really enjoyed. It's a quick read, which I always, I like.
Very brisk,
easy, quick read, and I love his prose. And were there things that I think he would probably do differently? Definitely, I'm sure we all would. On our first thing we publish eventually, but I think it's good overall and a great story. So yeah,
awesome.
I'm excited for him.
Very cool.
Let's rip him apart.
Yeah, well, we're gonna get there.
As nice as I'm gonna be.
Let's say hi to Chris Kenny. What's up, dude?
Carlos.
Hello. Obviously, Richard has been in the chat. Barrett's,
of course. Hello.
The chat that we're going to get to. I'm going to star them as we go here. What else? Jenna. Hello, all. Trying to wrap up a parent-teacher meeting. Fist bumps to the like button and be there ASAP. All right. That's awesome. What else? We got a question from Richard to Richard. That'll be interesting. I'm not going to read it. We'll get to it later. Who else is in here? Adam. Hello there.
Adam Stevenson.
Amelia.
Ariana.
Welcome.
Good to see you.
Welcome. Ariana. What am I missing there?
We've never called each other by the right name since that.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Well, she called you Barry.
I know. Chris is Carlos. So
should have been. All right. Anybody in the chat? No, I think that welcome everybody. Hello. Thank you for being here. Let's bring out the man, myth, the legend, Mr. Richard Holiday. Ricardo.
Hello. Author sensation Richard Holiday is in the house, and I can't do this any longer. Oh.
Come on. Leave the sunglasses on for the mystery.
Well, how about I go totally dad mode and just put them right up there?
Yeah.
That'll work.
That
Richard Holiday, welcome. You wrote a book. We read it. Discussed it.
I did write a book. This book.
That book right there. Yeah. Very good. For folks who are coming here to learn about you and whatnot, why don't you tell them where they can find your stuff? Maybe hold up a card that says newsletter, stuff like that.
It's funny you should mention that, Adrian. If you want to follow me, I am on social media under various forms. But the main thing I want is your email addresses. I want them. So sign up to my newsletter. Also sign up to all my other social media stuff. And also, if you want, you can donate to my Ko-fi. If you want to not give me your personal information, but just money. I am not fussy.
Nightmare Tenant. You could always buy a copy of Nightmare
Well, you can buy
Tenant.
that. Yeah, definitely. You can buy that, yeah.
Yeah, that's another way to do about it.
If you sign up to my newsletter, you get the prequel for free.
Hey-o. Does it come in print in the mail for free? Or is it just a digital thing? Okay. Tell me, what was I going to say? I wanted to remind Tuber Book Club members, now that we have read Richard Holiday's Nightmare Tenant, please go to wherever it was that you purchased it from and write a review.
A 5-star review.
Yes, give it 5 stars and then say whatever the hell you want after that.
Worst book I've ever read.
Yeah, 5 stars.
Is it low, Barrett? Is it?
No,
no, it's not. But you could say it if you had a 5-star rating. Like, give them a 5-star rating and then say whatever you want. Just because the 5 stars is what really matters.
I just want people to feed the algorithm.
Yeah. Feed it what it wants.
Oh,
let it devour us all.
Funny. Yes, RC to that.
I love the t-shirt. Thank you, Adam. We were a few moments late because I took the family to the Springs, and I timed the drive back so that I would have 15 minutes, but 15 minutes is not quite enough. So like I changed and everything, but I still have like spring water in the hair and all that kind of good stuff. It's
you
fun.
look fresh, fresh from the spring.
Did you say, Adrian, when you had to go, said, guys, we're at the Springs, we've got to bounce out of here?
How did I know? How did I know he was going to say it?
As soon as he started... You don't even have the sunglasses on your head and you're doing dad jokes.
Barrett, you're on the stream. What a surprise.
I know.
He was just commenting about that himself.
I like to keep it fresh.
Why did I drink last night?
Oh, if I could answer that, my 20s would not be the mystery they were.
Isn't it bad luck to keep your flags up more than 12 nights after the Jubilee? Oh, Richard, bad luck. Hey, McMurdo Riff, you just have them at the ready, Barrett. How are you doing this?
Someone should have nominated that for the book club, but alas.
Well, we have our nominees for the book club. I
voted.
Very good.
You just said Richard in the hot seat. Let's do it. Yes.
Fair enough. Yeah, She's here for the tea. All right, so let's go to the tea. Richard.
Hello.
What do you have against editors? Why why do you hate editing so much?
I wanted to give the reader the authentic stream of consciousness thing, which is why this thing is riddled with typos.
Is that what it is? That it was intentional?
Easter eggs.
A hell of a way to brand it.
They are a little treat for you to kind of read and appreciate and just kind of, I think I should apologize in advance that this book is so full of errors. So
not in advance. We already read it.
Well, it's too bad. I've already got your money. So
for posterity. Forward, from this day forth.
So if I was going to say one thing about this book...
but before you do, a comment about spoilers, because this is an episode of the book club and because the book club has officially read the entire book, it's spoilers everywhere. Yeah. Spoilers abound. So if you haven't read it and you want to, the quick review is you should read it. It's a lot of fun. Go get it and come back and watch it.
It's really good.
Yes.
Yeah. He says so.
There you go. All right, Richard, please continue what you were saying.
Okay, I'll get back on my soapbox and say that this project... thing that I have created that I'm holding right here in my hand that you've read is actually more of a test for things to come in the future, in the very near future. So I will say one thing, that I hadn't self-published anything for quite a while until I pushed the button on this thing, and I have learned so many things about writing, self-publishing, and all those wonderful things through the process of this. And I have learned so many lessons from this that my next book, hopefully coming out in September, sign up to my newsletter to find out more about that. Oh, that's the wrong one. Shit. That's the one. I have learned so much that my next project is going to be so much better. And I just, again, this is one of the things about writing for me, is that if you don't learn something with each project, you're doing it wrong. Every day should be a school day. So this is very much a symbol of 2021 me. The books that's going to showcase 2022 me is going to be a bounce off from that. So I've learned a lot. Yes, I have got an editor for my next book. Thank you, everyone.
and a line editor and maybe a proofreader as well.
In front of the flag, Richard.
What would the
Queen say? What would Her Majesty the Queen say?
Richard's like, she'd pull a middle finger out of her purse.
So rude.
She can do it because she's the fucking queen. She can pay for stuff with just her face.
Hey, once Shannon gets here, none of that talk.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Probably it's a third the size of mine, and I guarantee you would have had similar to what you sent me.
Yeah, my book is what, 150K right now. We'll see what it is after the edit. But
this was 40K, so it was a little baby.
It's a nice brisk read. And to your point earlier, Richard,
but good.
We said it during the last episode that there's nothing but clear potential in that book. Like, there's just so much. We all felt we wanted more from it, and that's a good thing, to want more from it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
there was more.
Yeah. So the prospect of your next book is something very exciting to me, because I can't wait to see that kind of growth out of you. I'm excited to see what your fifth book is like. You know what I mean?
Well, I think you even see it in Foundations.
I haven't read that yet.
Yeah.
I will give you one spoiler for it. There are slightly less typos in here, but there are typos.
Yeah.
I see that as a thematic nod to the first book.
Yes.
And there's got to be some typos.
Brits and their tea.
Bethany Votassem.
What were we talking about again?
Go ahead, Barry.
Can I ask just a general question about the book, Richard, which is, so is the building a real place? Like,
it is an amalgam of vibes of places. So basically, I think this is, again, one of the most British things, is that high-rise buildings have generally gone from like beacons of hope when they were first opened to kind of like decrepit cesspits that don't get maintained, don't get looked after, and have lots of social problems associated with them. And I tried to basically put all of that into this one building and kind of really concentrate it into like a composite of different things.
I know, we're doing a serious answer, and we're all like, hey.
Bethany Votassem walks in, everybody waves, man. That's just how it goes.
Does that answer your question, Barrett?
Yes, it did. Now, can I do a follow-up on that?
I mean, if you have to.
Well, no, I think it's interesting and it kind of plays off of Jenna's actual question above. But it's like, of all the spooky places and all the things, to set it in, you decided to set it here. And I'm assuming it's because of the draw of all the different personalities, because it's a pretty diverse book as far as the characters. Do you think if you hadn't have set it there, you would have been able to get such a colorful cast of characters?
I don't think so, because I think the setting, the kind of vertical setting, kind of lends itself to being that kind of like layer cake of society. You never quite know who's going to be on each floor, and you're all compressed into like, this singular space. So I don't think if it was in like a sort of housing development or anything like that, you would have got quite the same kind of mix of characters. Because I think like normal like housing estates tend to be kind of like homogenous.
Yeah,
you get certain type of people in certain ones. So I think having this kind of constrained setting allowed me to kind of throw in different characters and let them interact with each other. And I think that's what I did quite well in this book. I mean, it's only a novella. If I had expanded it to a full novel, I'm sure I could have really amped that up quite considerably. But obviously, making it a novella, I had to kind of prioritize like one or two plot threads. So the funny story is, when I was writing this book, I used for the first time a beat sheet in part of my planning process. And the first thing I did with that is I put it into Microsoft Excel because, of course, I did. But actually, the beat sheet I used, I will confess I did download it as a kind of starting point because I kind of experimented with this planning and methodology. I ended up planning so much plot, it was actually a full novel's worth. So, whoops. Okay. So, but I actually thought it was better to have too much and then cut it out than have too little and have to pad it out
later.
So, yeah.
The reason I ask it, not a follow-up question, but just more of a statement. I think if I were to give you one note after reading the back half, the thing that I would have wanted more of, other than the gore in the first half, especially in that scene where I told you, like, just kill him to death, would have been to ratchet up that tension in the second half. It's great. There's a lot there, but you could have exploited it so much more. And I think there were lots of opportunities to like turn that up to a boil. And it would have been, but again, I think you would have needed more runway. You would have needed more words. So you're right. It probably would have been a novel at that point. So, but loved it.
I mean, it did originally start as a 12.5K short story, and I got to 12.5, and I thought, I'm only about a quarter of the way through this, and I thought, sod it, just keep going. So the lesson here is I do not know the meaning of the word brevity or concision.
It's a pretty
not in my vocabulary.
It's a pretty brisk read, man. You know, you breeze right through it. The building itself being so huge, having so many floors and therefore so many rooms or apartments rather. I was flats, excuse me. I was really into that because I mean, I've lived in apartment buildings before.
Me too. Yeah.
The biggest one I lived in was 8 stories, 8 floors.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't live in anything quite as large, and yet even in that building, you saw a nice you saw
a mix.
Well, there's always a majority, you know, like there's the majority of the type of people that live there because it's a little community. In my case, it was mostly my family. We had like maybe 4 or 5 different aunts all in the same building, all the kids, all the cousins. So like we just controlled that whole building. And then there was
Towers by Adrian.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so I just was really into that reading it because such a huge tenement building, having so many different kinds of people, you really got a good eclectic mix of everybody. You know, a pool that size, you're bound to have a lot of different fish.
Always.
And what I kind of wanted to do is almost have like a sort of class system within the building. So you have the people on the top floors in the more posher, more expensive kind of properties, thinking they're better than the people who've just been shoved in down at the bottom near the bins or whatever. And I think there was a lot of potential there. So if I did another kind of tower block story, of which I may do because I think there is multiple angles to this setting, that's what I'm going to go for a bit more. But I think the setting is very vibrant and very rich for kind of tapping at the older story potential. So yeah, no, I was really pleased that it kind of went down with people.
Yeah. No, I dug it a lot. For those who aren't aware, Barrett just needed to duck out really quick and take a phone call, and he'll be back with us in a bit. We're gonna throw it to some audience questions.
Okay.
The first one,
nice.
Richard, is there going to be a big end of season best of the best vote for the Tuber Book Club participants? I
don't know, Adrian, is there?
Are you? I don't understand the question. Are you saying like to people to vote which author they liked best, you or Kent? Because there's only been 2.
My idea there was like at the end of the season for the Tuber Book Club is have one vote for the last book of the season. It's all of the winners in that vote.
The last all the winners get to vote for the next book. Is that what you're
something like that?
Interesting.
We'll work it out.
Interesting. Yeah, we'll talk about that. Yeah, even though we're about to go on a month hiatus, I don't really consider this the end of a season or anything like that. I guess
it's too short for a season. This is more like the
I mean, it's a book club. I didn't really think of it in the sense of
it's good fun.
Yeah, we just we spend some time on a book and then interview the author and then start the next book. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Jenna asks, what mundane thing, person, location, ideal is too sacred to be made macabre?
None. Because
Agreed.
I think one of the things that I was doing, because I'm not massively experienced in the horror genre yet, but I'm kind of experimenting a bit with it because I kind of started off in the
You're
old,
dipping your toes. You're dabbling.
I'm dipping my toes and they're getting nibbled at. Okay, that's possibly the wrong metaphor I wanted. Anyway, one of the lessons I picked up from my research was that horror needs to be more than just like body horror or just gore. But according to Barrett, I did not have enough gore, and I was kind of a little bit careful. But you kind of have to twinge off people's, inner fears. And I keep thinking, if you make scary things out of the things we see every day or we interact with every day, then that's great story potential.
Agreed. Welcome back, Barrett.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No problem.
So in answer to Jenna's question, I don't think there's anything too mundane. I actually think the more mundane things that you can kind of twist and put like a creepy spin on, the better. So in this book, the big scene I would say that happens in is the bathroom scene. I just love well, of course I'm going to say I loved it. It's the idea of something we all sort of take for granted, like the shower head rising out of the bath like a sort of cobra and then going for him. The idea was that you'd never quite look at your shower head the same.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, Barrett, yours is probably thinking it wants to strangle you for singing.
I was really into the garbage disposal claw thing with the hose, and like that was really cool. I dug that one a lot.
Well, and that's I felt like that was the delivery of what I wanted from the shower to do.
Yeah,
previous. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like
just
that was the payoff. Yeah.
Which character in your next work in progress are you basing on Adam Stevenson and other Brit Pack members?
I don't think there's a single Scot in my next book, but yeah, you never know. There's another round of revisions to do. I may have to get a man in a kilt in there.
Yeah, Adam. You might have to beat him up a little bit. He needs to put some Scots in there. Beatles or Stones?
Does this answer it for you?
No.
Beatles. It's got to be the Beatles.
Why did you not make it 50,000 word as in a novel? You'd only have needed
That's a very good question.
Chapters.
I think at that point I kind of committed it to being a novella, and at that point I kind of wanted to finish it. It's going to sound bad. I wanted to finish it because I thought I've mentally prepared for this to be a novella. It's going to be about 40,000 words. To go to a novel, I would have had to actually insert a lot more extra plot and threads. And going back and doing that, I kind of set my goal, set the jelly mold, as Martin Lejeune would say, and that was what I was going to go for. I don't know if I could do an expanded edition or Nightmare Tenant 2. Maybe, we'll see. But no, I kind of thought the novella would be quite good because I managed to get this from blank page to this in 6 months, which for me I was pretty impressed with, and in some respects it shows. But we've learned from that.
Ava's gonna highlight your typos when
you do that,
and then send you photos of it on Instagram.
Yeah, every page, just take a photo of every page.
I'm just gonna go onto my Instagram and mute Eva now.
Did you pants this thing, or because I know you like your spreadsheets, but I don't know, it flows like a pantser's book. You know what I mean?
Actually, no, I did plan this quite rigorously. I had my beat sheet to one side while I was writing it, which I thought was a big change because I have pants books in the past and they've been shit. So having my beat sheet, I was just like, okay, I know I've got to write now, just write it. And it actually really sped up the writing process quite dramatically, and I was really impressed by that. It's something I want to use more and more in the future. So much so I turned my spreadsheet into a template, so I copy and paste for each new one. But it's really helpful, to be honest. And I'm going to take the whole that it feels pantsed as a compliment.
I do say that as a compliment because it just, there's something about a pantser's book that is very, like, even when it's not an action adventure, it almost reads like one because you're just like going along for the ride. You don't necessarily see the forest for the trees. You don't know where the path is leading. So I don't know. That's the vibe that I was getting from you. And so, yes, I do mean that as a compliment. It's a different experience,
I mean, also with a plan book, you don't want to be able to say, right, this is exactly where this act ends. This is where the next beat begins. You kind of want to blur those lines a little bit. So yeah, I will take that as a compliment.
Can I ask one,
Mm-hmm.
Richard? You said you cut about 10,000 words or so, right? Is that an estimate ish?
I didn't write 10,000 words more. I had enough plot to possibly take it into novel territory.
Is there anything you cut that, looking back, you wished you'd have kept?
There was a plot line because I tried to, as I was planning this, I tried to have, as we get to know the sort of normal family we follow as the protagonist, I tried to bring it in several kind of like bad tenants, so to speak. And I tried to, with each one that we brought in, they were of an increasing problem, so to speak, like with an increasing social problem that they associate with themselves. So we had the drug dealer was like rank number 2 of the naughty tenants, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And there was one at the very end of that kind of spectrum I established that I almost put in, but I thought actually a little bit too much. Because I tried to keep thinking, what is a worse social ill than the one before? So I think we started off with Crystal was the kind of like benefit cheat. Then we had the kind of party animals. Then we had the drug thing. And I will say, first and foremost, the fourth and worst tenant was going to be someone who is not particularly nice to children, shall we say. And I'm kind of thinking in retrospect, that was good to leave that one out a little bit. I thought that may have been crossing perhaps a line. And kind of on that theme, when I wrote the bathroom scene, the infamous bathroom scene, I wondered if I'd gone too far with that. But then I realised it allowed me to have a dimension to a character who I established as a bit of a shitty character. That was Crystal, the kind of chavvy, kind of, street girl kind of thing. And it kind of gave her an opportunity to have some redemption. And I kind of seized that opportunity. So I'm not going to apologise for writing that scene because it does feature, I'm going to be honest, it's domestic violence.
Yeah.
Which is not something I want to be glorifying with this
you're not.
in the book.
When deplorable characters, when horrible characters behave horribly, that is not a glorification of their actions. It's quite the opposite. It's showing, look how shitty this person is. People who do this are shitty people. You know what I mean? It's an example for people to be made aware. It's like when you tell kids about, don't talk to strangers because yada, yada, yada. Like, you got to warn people. Otherwise, people are just walking around thinking everybody's trustworthy. And they're not.
Sadly not. Unfortunately, the world is a bad place.
It wasn't like you threw it in there just because, or to like make some political statement, if that makes sense, right? Like it felt
make a political statement? Surely not. But that's actually a very good point, Barry, because I strongly believe that something like that, like gratuitous violence, in this case, domestic violence, let's be careful, or even stuff like gratuitous sex should not just be in there to be there. Right. It should have a plot reason.
Right.
So I'm not just going to write it in there to be like, oh, look, I've written this naughty scene. Look how clever I am.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it needs to serve a purpose. Otherwise, it is just literally gratuitous, and I don't want to be doing that.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Did you meet or exceed sales goals with Nightmare Tenant?
That's a very good question, Eva. And obviously, me as the arch capitalist, you'd be thinking I'd be sitting on my big pile of money by now. Alas, not. I didn't particularly market. It's been a bit of a sleeper kind of project. It's kind of, I don't want to say oozed out. It's kind of like dribbled. Okay, that's worse. It's not something I've particularly gone full on marketing because, not being funny, I'm a little bit self-conscious about it because of the typographical errors, etc. But again, as it was basically a platform to test the whole taking the self-publishing business thing seriously, I have learned so much from it that for my next project, I'm going to be applying most of, if not all of the lessons, if that makes sense. So I'm happy with the sales. I'm happy with one sale. That was happy. I'm very modest about the things I wanted from it. But seeing the number of ratings it's got, I think it's up to 39 ratings on Amazon, and that's really good. And I'm just amazed that people have actually bothered with it.
Well, I think like what Eve was saying earlier about quick reads and people like those, I agree with her. I know lots of people who ask me all the time because I like to read. Do you have anything quick, especially this time of year when they're going to the beach or on vacation?
You know, somebody's taking a flight. They want something quick they can read on a flight or on a bus ride or something.
Remember, I had a conversation with Martin Lejeune, my partner in crime on Flash Aha, and he said, "Oh, Richard, there's no market for novellas anymore." I'm thinking, why not? Because they're quick reads. They're like,
of course, there
you
is.
know,
especially in self-publishing.
Move on.
Great.
Well, Ava said it earlier that novel, novella, these are words that authors use to describe lengths of books. Readers don't think like that. They pick up a book. It doesn't matter how big.
I want to write more novellas.
This looks good. You know, sorry, go ahead.
This is the perfect length for you to pick up. You can probably read it in a couple of days or whatever.
Yeah.
Enjoy it, forget about it, move on to the next thing, and not be like. I kind of see it as a contrast to like books like The Stand by Stephen King, which I find is to be kind of intimidatingly long. Because that book would take me friggin' months.
I mean, every book in the Song of Ice and Fire series is longer than the entirety of Lord of the Rings. So, like, but those books exist for those of us who like to live in those worlds for a long time. Every time I reread A Song of Ice and Fire, I'm talking about it months.
It's a commitment, isn't it?
It's a commitment, and it's me deciding for the next few months I'm going to live in this world, and it's going to be great. Ooh, guess what? Dun, dun, dun.
Welcome.
Hello. Thank you for your patience with my things wrapping up and my tech gremlins to get here.
My pleasure. Take it away. Reintroduce yourself, and then give us a first question for Mr. Richard Holiday here.
Sure. Boom. No problem. My name's Jenna O'Malley, author of fantasy with a dash of romance and those nerdy references I'll never let go. I am doing writing sprints over on my channel as we wind down to go to our Val renewal and wind up to the AuthorTube Writing Conference, which is coming July 15 through 17. We have next year's dates to announce on the 17th.
Very nice.
And rebranding the books.
Very nice. A question for Mr. Richard Holiday.
So, when do we get the how-to book to use Excel for writing any genre, sir?
That is an excellent question. If I was clever, I'd do it as part of my newsletter, but I'm not. Who knows? I would love to just geek out about how I use Excel to basically do everything in writing. It's really good. I will say one thing. Again, you can use whatever tools you want. And yes, Eve, I do agree. Is that finding that kind of process to speed up my kind of writing regimen was really good. So using that kind of, story beats, I used the 5 Commandments of Story, which was championed by, what's his name, Kent Shawn. Some good advice from him. That he knows what he's doing. Beat into me. Richard, you're going to do it this way. And I have to say, it did really work. And it just helped me kind of visualize how to lay out a story better. Because before I was using the kind of archaic 3-act structure and allocating 33% of the story to each act. What a wally. That's the wrong way of doing it. But yeah, I found a methodology. It does use a structure. It does use a template. It does use Excel because that's what I'm comfortable with using. Other people may use what they want. Yeah. Sorry, that was me.
Yeah, we know.
Oh dear. But yeah, it has really helped me. And I've learned from that process. So with my current book that I'm working on, I've enhanced that kind of outlining process, made it a bit better. Because again, my process doesn't stay the same for each book. It kind of gets a little. I learn thing. I think, oh, what if I do it a little bit differently this way? Tweak the spreadsheet or whatever, or tweak the methodology I'm using. It just makes it better each time. Because I don't want to be like stuck in a rut thinking this is the only way I can do things. I am at the best I can do right now, because I'm not. I have got so much room to kind of grow and advance and get better and learn and kind of soak up what other people are doing. That's what the community's been really good at.
But for someone who didn't use an editor, talking to someone who did use an editor and
I wish I had.
The same issues, you would have been golden, dude.
Well, on that topic, what self-editing methods did you use?
Not many. I did kind of go through, again, this is another process that's evolved for me. I did send it out to a few beta editors, beta readers rather, not editors, we can tell that. They gave me some feedback. I've kind of built a very kind of structured kind of process to that. I set up like a feedback questionnaire, because when I'm asked to kind of read a test version of a book, I need some pointers as to what to focus on. Otherwise, it's like, it's pretty good, stuff like that, which is rubbish feedback. We don't want that. The trouble is, I found it was a little bit rushed towards the end, because I set a release date of, what was it, the 27th of March last year, and I did it on a live stream, and I thought, well, I've committed now, and I wasn't 100% sure of quite how much work I was going to have to do. So that last week of prepping this thing, I basically didn't sleep. And again, I feel it shows that kind of like mad rush to the finish. So it's what I've learned from that. I've got a much better process. I've actually got an editor. His name's Dan Hook. He's got a channel here. He's lovely. He's very helpful. But I'm just going to get more eyes on it. I think the big thing I've learned from this is just to get more eyes on it. So, for instance, I'm factoring in a pass of, Pro Writing Aid. Comes at the very end of the kind of editing process, just to kind of catch anything. Because the trouble with self-editing is you become kind of like blind to some of the things you're doing wrong. You kind of you become so familiar with the work, you think this is perfect, but then someone who hasn't read it thinks, what the hell are you doing this?
Yeah.
And even tools like Pro Writing Aid, which I would highly recommend, can just help you identify those things you may not be aware of. So definitely for my new books going forward, I'll be using an editor. Maybe not Dan all the time, bless him. He's got to write his own books as well, bless him. It's going to be a much leaner kind of process. And I think for self-published books especially, they need to have at least one or two other sets of eyes, just to kind of look at the thing that's about to be published and say, okay, page 4, there's an error here, and etc., etc. I kind of got that with this book after it had been published. I remember Chris Kenny, he bought the paperback. He said, Richard, page X, page Y, page Z, error, error, error. I was like, and my feelings hearing that was, I appreciated his feedback, and I appreciated what he did massively, as I always do. My feelings was thinking, this is a release book. I am ashamed that it was that full of errors. So I did get a couple of revisions to just kind of filter out as many of those as possible. There's still a few in there, probably, but
but that's
it is what it is.
Writing,
at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's just writing. Well, I mean, Ava was listing it out: developmental editor, betas, line editor, proofreader. I'm following that a lot as well. My editor is what I would consider doing the developmental edit right now. I'm going to get a fairly good second draft out of that. Then that's going to critique partners, one of which is going to be Kent Sean, and I expect him to tear that thing to shreds. Like I want him to. Yeah, and I want him to. And then from that, I'm going to get the most solid third draft that I can. That's going to go to all the beta readers, etc. And then my very last copy, the one that I'm like, this is almost ready. That's the one that's going to go to Bethany Vota. I'm going to pay her to do a line edit on it, and she's going to get all those little typos all the way through. And I'm going to have a nice polished thing by the end of it. So you got to go through the steps, or else,
and that's what I'm going to be doing in the future. I'm going to be, like Dan has done a developmental edit on my new book. He sent it back. We had a nice meeting. We talked about the story. We talked about it before I sent it to him. Then we talked about it afterwards. He sent a load of comments, which are really good. Hopefully we've got the story straight, and now he's going to go to town with it on track changes for the next edit. So if the page isn't already weeping red after I've edited it, after his comments, it's going to be like soaked in editing blood. Thank you. That's a very good point. I'm very proud of it, but I know it is step one, and step 2 is next. But
everyone's publishing, though, traditional publishing has errors too. Right?
Sure.
Like
I say it all the time. I've got this beautiful, pristine copy of American Gods by Neil Gaiman. It's got Anansi Boys in the back. It's a hardcover. It's got silver, like shiny material throughout. The pages look like Bible pages. They're like transparent.
Not that horrible Bible paper, is it?
Oh no, it's thicker than that, but it's
so.
almost Bible paper. It's like close enough that you're like, wow, this is really nice, and yet I find typos and mistakes in that.
This to me would be style over substance. You've made it look pretty, but at the end of the day, a book is words on the page. A book is words on the page.
Yeah.
So if you don't get that right, all this other kind of window dressing is just that. It just kind of amounts to naught.
Well, and Richard, we were yesterday. We were at the interview. Stephen and Michelle were doing the interview. Both of them trad pubbed. Both of them said,
"Very good interview."
I would not want to go read my first book, right? And now they can both say that 10 books later, because it would be kind of cringy to go back to your first and be like, ew.
It was really funny. I was, I've
got my first self-published book literally over there,
right over there. I was watching a bunch of BookTube videos, and I don't know if you guys have noticed, but for the most part, when they're talking trash about AuthorTube, they're usually talking about the big twos, the Jennas and the Jenna
not
Maressis.
this Jenna, to
not
clarify.
Not that Jenna. The Jenna Maressi and what's her name? Meg Lattori.
The other one?
And so one of the things that they were beating up on Jenna Maressi for is, according to them, that she's been trying to bury her first book for a long time. She doesn't talk about it anymore, blah, blah, blah. And I'm sitting there going, fucking duh. Like, of course, her first book is most likely her worst book. Everyone's first book is their worst book. You only get better as a writer.
Most movie directors do the same.
Of course.
I'm sure any artist, right? Like an artist, I think even a visual artist would like their work would improve.
George Lucas went back and re-edited his Star Wars.
Yeah.
The thing that changed cinema forever. He was like, not good enough.
Not good enough.
I mean, that is a whole other debate, really.
Did he or did he not go back and change it? He did.
I mean, they won't leave it alone for a reason.
I'm saying. Biggest supporter.
All we wanted was the Blu-ray of the original films, right?
Well, biggest supporter, Richard.
In terms of like physical dimensions or just like number. I don't want to body shame any of my supporters.
No,
what can I say? Let me just name the names. Why don't I name the names in the back of this?
I'm going to say there is acknowledgement.
Yeah, there is acknowledgement.
We have got.
Yeah, Age Awakening, Adam.
I got Victoria Wren was very helpful. Bethany Votor, Dan Hook, Kent Shaw, Hannah Palmer, Colin Clark, Chris Kenny, who I couldn't really do anything without at the moment. He's a very inspirational person. Definitely buy his books and buy them in multiple if you can. He needs some help getting up that algorithm. Don't just buy one, buy 10. Even like Martin Lejeune, I know we bitch about each other. Out of affection, I would like to say. And he was very kind of helpful in kind of like some of the design and kind of plot stuff. So all those people who kind of fed into the book, some of which I couldn't name off the top of my head now, is they've all kind of bought into me somehow. And even everyone here, Adrian, Barrett, and Jenna, and Shannon, etc. They've all been very helpful, and always good to bounce ideas off. Thanks to everyone who bought, beta read, reviewed, left feedback, rated. Thank you once again.
Hey man, it's our pleasure. We were happy to do it on the book club. Has your newsletter sub count correlated to increased sales at all?
Now, we all know the one thing I love more than a spreadsheet is my newsletter, of which, if you haven't subscribed to it, subscribe now. I haven't really been pushing this in the newsletter as much. My current kind of tactic is basically listening to Shannon. And I've been pushing for the last few months my Reader Magnet, which is the prequel, which is standalone, by the way. You can read them in any order, so don't be put off like that. I want to build like a really reliable and effective community there before I start pushing out new stuff in the not too distant future. And I'm really pleased with how that community has grown and how strong it's been. If we wanted to go into the nitty gritty, my open rate has been solid. and I'm surprised about how my newsletter has grown over time, and the open rate has stayed the same. You know, I'm kind of very much in the kind of territory of social media is like a hotel room. You just rent it. The terms and conditions can be changed at any time. You're kind of at the behest of a kind of capricious algorithm. With a newsletter, you have direct access to customers. And that's what they are at the end of the day. They are customers. You know, we can't delude ourselves in thinking they're our best friends. I mean, I always write my newsletter as if I'm writing to a friend.
That comes across.
I write it as if I'm writing to an individual. I don't say, hi, readers, how are you? I just say, hey, first name. I mean, not being funny, that does get added automatically. Sorry, I can't literally do a personalised email for everyone. But that's kind of like my approach, is to kind of have that personal connection, a bit of a personal update, then, and not like, right, now I've got your attention, write this bloody book. No, I try to keep it on the bit of a down low. I'm not, you know, I'm trying to channel my inner Brit here. I'm not like a brash American. Buy me, buy me, buy me. But I'm kind of trying to channel that a little bit going forwards. But I'm kind of just building a platform, so to speak. And
Lords of Commerce over here, bro.
You know how capitalism works.
I love capitalism. There, I said it on the screen, didn't I?
That'll boost the algorithm.
Yes, please do. But yeah, I mean, I will see how that translates to my next book when that's ready to be released. I'm going to be pushing that quite hard with the newsletter. Not obviously like right at the top, but I'm going to be, you know, focusing my energy from the reader magnet to the new book, because by that point I'll have built a fairly impressive number of community members, which I'm quite happy with. You know, it's not all about numbers, but it's nice to see that number has grown and the retention has been quite good, which is good to see. And obviously I'm doing something right there. Again, I feel like I'm only kind of scratching the surface of newsletter potential, but I'm starting with a good foundation. That was a pun there. To go for, because I know it's going to sound a bit like old man yelling at a cloud here, but there's some of these new social media things, TikTok, I just cannot get on with, because TikTok, I have philosophical problems with TikTok, which I can go into if you want.
We could, but instead we're going to bring in Shannon.
Shannon's here.
Right, let me fix the screen because this is bananas right now. I just had like convulsions.
There's Shannon, the inspiration behind my newsletter, largely. Their video was very helpful about that.
Welcome, Shannon. Since you are just now joining us, say hi to everybody and go ahead with your first question for Richard Holiday.
Oh.
Hi, everybody. I'm Shannon. Please excuse the mess. I just got back from the dentist. I've not been feeling well, so I have like no makeup on. Haven't done my hair, nothing.
You look wonderful.
But when I saw that I got out of the dentist early, I thought, oh, you know what? I want to try and make this. So I like ran back here and hurried up to get on the camera. But welcome, everybody. And I'm so glad to be here to talk with Richard about his novel. And my first question would be, did you see the towers, the manifestation of the powers in the tower, separate from the creator Chevron?
I will answer that question. Thank you, Shannon. It's a very good question. So I could probably answer that in saying that the idea was, I mean, if you read the prequel, you kind of get a better idea as to what happened. So,
I mean, get on
but I kind of like the idea that the tower was kind of like infused with this malevolent power, and he became like this kind of unwilling or reluctant kind of like champion of it, and he's kind of trying to hold it at bay. He's trying to maintain this really uneasy equilibrium, and what happens in the kind of rebirth of the tower is it upsets the balance. He loses control and all hell breaks loose. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
This is good advice. Turn readers into fans and fans into friends.
Precisely.
Very nice. Very, very nice. Let's throw another question up here. Did you ever consider setting the story in a bungalow?
Martin, you troll, you. I mean, possibly. I mean, that wouldn't have been that would have been like a flash fiction. I actually thought the tower block setting was kind of a bit of a nice modern kind of take on the fairly well established haunted house trope. That's my justification anyway. I thought it was an interesting twist.
I mean, it's just a tower of houses. Why not?
Exactly. Did I feel more pressure existing at all? I mean, I don't really feel like I exist on AuthorTube because I kind of don't do too much. I just kind of muscle in on people's streams and just cause harmless chaos with my usual nonsense.
Most inspiring marketing people I think that are on AuthorTube. Like, you Shameless is a positive thing in this.
I mean, I follow him around all the time, don't I?
We're becoming
Even when
fair. People are starting to talk.
Even when it's like 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm like, oh, that's going to cause chaos.
We assume
So
you all don't sleep.
I mean, I do for about 3 hours. But yeah, I think being in this community has really helped because, you know, I think it started with the Bethany Discord, and it kind of, I don't want to say spiraled out of control, it just became its own kind of being in a way, and it really helped being in that kind of community, especially during the last sort of 2 years where we've been going through the panini, shall we say. We don't want to ruin the algorithm, do we? But yeah, it's kind of like finding a support network because, funnily enough, before all that happened, at the beginning of 2020, I was thinking, I'm going to join my local writing group and go down there every month. Oh, how that worked out. But yeah, I think being in the community and meeting a lot of very different and interesting and nice people has really helped. And I don't think it was a pressure. I kind of feel it was an inspiration in a way because seeing other people release and do books kind of made me think, sorry, I'm going to do this. And now I want to do another. Because I've just seen like Chris Kenny has released his 3rd book. I know Ben Pick's doing his very soon. Shannon's series has just kind of skyrocketed out of the gate, which is really good. I know Barrett's got something he's working on. Everyone's working on stuff, and it's kind of nice to kind of be in that kind of zone with people, that circle, and be like, and then Martin as well. He's just released a book. I'd be remiss to mention. And it's just kind of great to be there, and we're all kind of like boosting each other. No matter what point in the cycle we're on, we're all kind of boosting each other, which is really good.
Hey, Savion.
Nice to see you.
Now is your turn to get him back, Savion. Ask the most embarrassing thing you could ever possibly imagine, and he has to answer it. And if you don't want to, I will for you.
What can embarrass you?
Oh, I can think of a thing or two.
Oh, okay.
Nice to see you. Bye.
No, I'm just teasing.
That's funny. Has anyone else got any questions?
Will you go back to horror?
Oh, absolutely. Definitely. I'm not finished. I've barely started with that because I think horror, or the thing is, would we say this is horror? I'd say this is more a bit psychological, a bit thriller. It kind of straddles about 3 genres in one go without kind of dipping its toe into one.
I think if your bad guy's a ghost that's trying to kill people, it's a horror book.
Mm-hmm. Even if it's not like full on scary. I mean, maybe I will write stuff that is full on gruesome, scary, horrific.
See, that's the thing. Gruesome does not equal.
This is what I was kind of saying. I think Adrian's frozen. He's frozen in that position.
Oh shoot, he is.
I will continue talking to myself. Oh, there he is.
You're back.
I kind of feel like one of the first things I learned about horror from my research was that don't just rely on body horror or gore. You got to kind of get to something that's right at the psyche. So this is one that I kind of feel like taking mundane stuff we all take for granted or all can experience and putting a spooky twist on is a really cool angle to attack from. And I feel there's a lot of potential there as well because there's lots of stuff you might think, oh, I see that every day. You think, what's going on there? So yeah, definitely. I'm, just started really.
Have you thought about making a book from any of the characters that are in this one? Making them a star of their own book?
That's interesting because that could kind of lead to a Nightmare Tenant universe, which would be interesting. There could be a series of films about that.
There you go. And you can link them all together and your marketing would be a little bit different, but easier.
Could do more of these. Who knows? The thing is, I would say I always planned it to be a novella. I kind of feel like the ending was fairly emphatic. So how I'm gonna, well, saying that, the ending wasn't that emphatic because obviously the dark spirit is still there because I
And
think
along with all the souls that died there. I
exactly
think about the little girl who died there. You could have a spin-off with her.
spin-off.
Middle grade.
or
I
a
love
rip-off.
that. A lighthearted middle grade story by Richard.
That would be a challenge. So to go on a bit of a tangent, then my
Aaron
inspiration
will be
for
to read
that,
for you.
my inspiration for that kind of bit at the end was Christine by Stephen King, because at the end, after the car's being crushed, you see the bit of metal just move. And, you know, I think the beat for that was evil is never defeated. It's just kind of, you know,
Waiting for its next chance.
exactly.
It could be a power struggle between the little girl and Chevron.
We got 80% rating it 4
Aaron's
stars.
writing this for you.
That's the.
I'll
that's
take
the-
that.
Yeah. 4 stars is the majority rule, man.
Hang on, who rated it? Who rated it 2 stars?
Hey, it's purely anonymous. You mind your business.
See, this is
Yeah. That would be an interesting challenge doing a middle grade ghost story, because I think you have to kind of temper the kind of scare there, don't you?
Do you have any plans to go back and fix the typos in the grammar in Nightmare Tenant? Not rewrite it or edit, but just a little line edit.
This is actually an interesting question that I was thinking of while we were discussing in the 2 previous streams. I kind of would love to say yes, I do want to revisit it, but honestly, no. This is a 2021 me product, and it's going to stay there. It is going to be a, you know,
little time capsule.
The time capsule of what I was like then, and new stuff is going to be me evolving. Mainly because, to be quite honest, I have this kind of, you know, dilemma myself, because I've got so many kind of old drafts that I keep thinking, now I'm a bit better, allegedly. I could rewrite that and do it so much better. But I kind of think, do I want to spend time on old ideas, or do I want to spend time on new ideas? Because I have this thing that I've talked about before. It's project monogamy. I will work on one thing at a time exclusively. Get it done, next thing. Get it done, next thing. I cannot be spinning plates because it's going to sound bad. I don't have the mental bandwidth for it anymore. I can't be like shifting out of one book or universe and into another one, which may be totally different. Because I feel like I wouldn't be doing either of them the proper service, and they would both suffer for that. So, you know, there's only so many hours in the day, unfortunately. I am 32, you know, I'm getting on a bit, you know, I'm going to be drawing a pension in several decades. So, and I've got too many books I want to write to always be going back. But I'd like to go back and maybe look at old stuff in the future. Who knows? I'm not going to say no to it, but I'm going to say I would prefer to leave it as it is, as a symbol of this is what I was like then, and new stuff is like, this is how I am now. And again, even as I advance in the next few years, that process is going to continue over and over. Does that make sense?
There's a difference between the story and plot and all that and just the typos?
I think that's what I think. The only thing, if I was to revise this again, I would go for the kind of typographical stuff. I would leave the story alone.
Yeah.
I kind of don't want to reopen it at this point. I kind of think I've taken all the feedback from the 2 streams was really good. I can't really disagree with any of it. I think you're all very fair and very, you know, well put. But I think, you know, I'm not gonna. Oh, it's not being funny. I'm going to be editing this for years, and I don't want to be one of those writers that's perpetually editing stuff and not kind of, you know,
putting out new stuff.
I don't want to be one of those writers who's always editing, always fiddling, and never quite saying, right, it's done. You know, warts and all, it's done. I'm going to move on and do better next time, because otherwise I'll be writing the same book for like years and years, if that makes sense.
Kitty.
Oh, the Shannon's cat.
Loki.
Does your family know when you write?
Not really, to be quite honest. I mean, I remember there was a copy of this on the coffee table when it was my previous story, The Landlady, which is like a little short story I wrote. It was on the coffee table. My mum said she was going to read it. Then I took it off the coffee table. Then she got ill. And then she never got better. So, alas, that was a shame. But no, they don't really read it. But I'm really appreciative to everyone who does read it and support it, which is nice. But alas,
You're found.
missed opportunity there. But my mum did read some of my stuff before that I wrote when I was like a little kid, which was nice.
You could always just hire someone to do that line edit. That is true. You don't have to do it yourself.
I see what Dan's doing.
This is a good idea. Maybe
I'm just going to say, Saban, be careful what you wish for.
That could be
That
great
might be
low
easier to
content
write than you
release.
think.
That could potentially be the book to get me cancelled.
Well, or into the stratosphere.
Yeah, man.
Mhm.
Some of that stuff like
Just
makes
any
your
port in
career
straw,
rather
mate.
than ends it. Yeah.
That's right.
Uh,
I think it's bad press.
Yeah.
mhm. My family has read nothing except for my little sister. Yep, same here. My sister's the only one who reads my stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
Vixen of Fiction's here. Hello. Hello.
I think the closest thing to family that have read my book is like school friends. So Chris Kenny is definitely, one of those.
Yeah.
One of those people, and we have like a sort of, we have this lovely kind of like gentleman's agreement where we will always read each other's stuff.
Nice.
And I couldn't quite get around to reading his third book before it released, but it's definitely on the list. And but we're good like that, which is nice. We're always going to be supportive. There is like a certain sect of people who there's stuff I'm always going to read, which is nice, just because I have a personal connection to them. And they feel the same about me for some strange reason. Until my PayPal recurring donation stops going through, basically.
Which character was a self-insert?
Chevron.
Possibly, yeah. I kind of trying to make the author avatar a little.
I love that
No,
Barrett
yeah.
answered.
Jeez, Barrett, you know this book better than I do. I would like to say a question to Barrett. Why do you think Chevron was the author avatar?
Wait, what did you say?
Why do you think the architect is the me in that book?
I was just being like spiteful and jokey.
Right. That's fair enough. That's a valid reason. You bastard. Oh, I'm not meant to swear, am I? Shannon's here.
Oh, Shannon's here. No more swearing.
Wait, what?
Botheration.
Shannon
Even though-
doesn't like swearing.
On my
Oh.
Worldwide Write-a-thon, I had two guest authors, two guest author tubers who I didn't know, and both of them swore a lot. And I was like, oh boy, oh well.
Yeah,
Guess
here
it's on
we
my
go.
channel now.
Yeah.
Um,
Audiobook plans?
In answer to Bethany's question, I would love to say there is an audiobook plan, but there isn't. We try to avoid it either because
Yeah,
I am notionally a gentleman.
I tried to.
Yeah,
but
same
I'm
here.
trying
I
my best
try
to
to censor
kind of-
myself around her, but sometimes
no, it
something
doesn't
slips
work.
out.
In terms of audiobooks, I would love to say there's going to be an audiobook of Nightmare Tenant or any of my future books, but audiobooks, A, they take time, and B, they take money to create. So unless this is going to be me getting my big capitalism hat on, unless there is a commercial demand for an audiobook that I can identify and know it's going to be a return on the investment, I'm not going to bother, to be quite
Would you
frank.
consider doing the narration yourself? Just curious.
Oh, God, no. I would probably hire someone very talented, like tis him, Colin Clark. I think he would be great reading this.
Yes, he would.
Agreed.
Maybe I will, I'm thinking aloud here, maybe I will commission him to read the prologue, just to see how it sounds.
Interesting.
Maybe I will. I will just flash some of my cash and be like, here you go, Colin. Read my book. But yeah, I think the trouble with audiobooks, it's easy to sort of say, oh, yeah, it'd be nice to have an audiobook, nice to have a hardback, nice to have this, nice to have that. We as authors, and I'm sure Shannon will relate to this from her very frank videos that she makes on her author progress, is that we have to kind of think, is this a good return on the investment we're going to make in terms of time and money? And are we going to... There's no point in spending X number of hundreds of pounds on an audiobook and production, etc. And it gets listened to by about 3 people. Because that is pretty bad.
What I would say, which I don't, is your book Kindle Unlimited? I don't know if it is. I don't remember.
I think it is.
Okay.
I think it is.
I think
Google
it is.
Play now has AI, which they don't suggest for fiction, but I've now listened to two podcasts where they took some of their fiction work and sent it through the Google AI, and it doesn't sound bad. And you can only sell it on Google Play, but people are making books that way, and it's free right now. It's in beta, but your book can't be in KU because you got to have it on Google Play.
it's got to be exclusive to. Okay, that's interesting. That's definitely worth looking at
Exclusive
least.
to Google. It just cannot be exclusive to Amazon.
I just
Okay.
saw that on Heidi Thorne's did an episode about it. That's where I first heard about it. But yeah,
I hadn't heard of that at all. That
Joanna
sounds
Penn did
interesting.
an episode a few weeks ago, and she put some of her fiction through it, and it sounded pretty good.
I think it'd be worth it because I kind of had this kind of perhaps old preconceived notion that the text-to-speech thing sounds like that Microsoft Sam voice, where it is very robotic and very obviously read by a robot. So we'll see. I think that'd be an interesting
It
experiment.
sounds really good. I would listen to Joanna Penn's podcast and listen. She put some of her fiction through it. And then
Like
N.K. Williams also talked about it as well on her podcast.
I think the technology has certainly advanced in recent times, so I'm not going to dismiss that, but in terms of like a traditional audiobook, it's not something I'm seriously considering at the moment. Just because, for those reasons, for commercial reasons, essentially, I think my time and, quite frankly, money might be better spent on something else.
Mm-hmm.
So, for instance, this was the first book where I commissioned the cover, and I was thrilled to bits with it. This is where the money needs to go, because I think one of the things I learned is there's the old adage where you don't judge a book by its cover. This is a lie.
For many
this
people,
day
it
and
is.
age.
It really is. I
Absolutely.
can attest to that. That's when my
Absolutely.
sales aren't good.
That's
dude.
the whole point of a book
Yeah.
cover. That's why there's an image on it. If not, then every
Great.
book cover would be.
So I did a
over the
blog
top.
post
I
about this.
disagree with Heidi on.
Yeah.
I did do a blog post about this because when I got the cover back for this, the first thing I did was I chatted to Martin about it, and he had some very good advice. He said to me, Richard, that cover image looks nice in full resolution. He said, resize it to the size it's going to be on Amazon. And I did it, and I thought, you can't actually see my name on it. And I keep thinking, oh shit, I'm the brand here. So that was a really good shout by Martin. I put it on my blog now, that tidbit. So, is there any pineapple on that?
No, there is not any pineapple on this.
Then
There is
send it
There's
back
nothing
and-
for you here, Richard. This is all me. Pepperoni.
But yeah, I
sausage,
think that's
olive
another
oil.
one of the kind of like author tube indie author kind of thing is, the whole don't judge a book by its cover. We like to believe that's true, but it isn't. Because the cover is advertising, it is part of marketing. If you don't have a good cover, an eye-catching cover, or a cover that is congruous with your genre,
And your cover is
you're in
dope.
trouble.
I like your cover a lot.
Thank you.
Made me want to
It's
read it.
spot on, and it's
Yeah.
easily noticeable among a sea of covers that might be of similar color palettes too.
I mean, when I did the research for that, I did find a lot of covers that were kind of like a similar color palette, but I kind of had a concept, and I kind of went for it. And I was really pleased with what my designer did. And I will say one thing: my designer. I know some people think if they just go for the most expensive designers, it's the best. It's like kind of that assumption that, it's the brand name, it must be the best. And not always the case, because my cover designer was very competitively priced. And I would say she's done a better job than some quite notable indie authors in this community that have spent 5-6 times as much on a cover. So don't just be thinking, it's expensive, it must be the best. That's not always the case. And yeah, like you said, I am thrilled with my cover. I'm thrilled with the prequel cover. I think they, again, thematically work well together. They kind of riff off each other.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm so happy I literally got prints of them done.
Beautiful.
And that is going to be a thing for all of my books. It's going to have prints of them in my office, which is nice.
She does do good covers.
I'm gonna do
Yeah,
right
that's
She's
You
an
know,
author
we're-
who hasn't put out a video for a while, I think.
yeah. She's been busy with some other stuff, I think.
I think a cover that I've seen that is really good is Ben Pick's upcoming book, Falling Through. That cover was Chef's Kiss.
I have it
Really
because I'm
impressive.
working on his trailer. I have it here. Hang on, I'll pull it up and share it.
Ooh.
Let's see. I believe it would work with this. Let's see. You
I just
guys
want to say
can
to
vamp
save
while
you,
I'm looking for it. You don't have to.
I'm going to say to save on here, he might not be Pineapple Pizza people, but there's at least 2 Pineapple Pizza patrons on this side of the screen.
Why are
So-
you bringing this up right now? This has absolutely nothing to do with what we're
Same.
talking about. We're talking about
I'm
books,
filling dead air
right?
for you, Adrian. You should thank me. Yeah, I mean, again, it's all part of the marketing tool, isn't it? If you don't have an effective cover, you're going to
Is that
struggle.
the kind of- we-
I'm gonna ask you one more because I'm gonna have to run at 4:15 to do the stupid work thing. I hate it, but it
do,
has to happen.
do some rapid
Stupid
fires
work.
and get as many out as you can.
My
Barry.
last question I wanted to ask you: this book is very, very British. In the future, do you see yourself writing to a more broad audience, or do you always see yourself writing so British?
Does
Says
my
the
set
person
dressing?
waving the flag. I was about to say.
So I will say the Britishness is kind of certainly. I kind of knew that aspect of me, and I just embraced it and went for it. But I'm not going to rule out writing more stuff set in like the States, and other things that are
So good.
Ben's cover is really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to rule out kind of having stuff that is more accessible to a wider audience. Because I know there's a lot of Britishisms, British turns of phrase, and stuff like that, which I put in because this book is set in the UK. It's written by a UK author.
Totally.
You could say it's aimed at a UK audience, because I'm not going to deny that. But I'm not going to be like, Yarba Americans, just deal with it. I'm happy to kind of take the feedback on board and kind of, for works where it is appropriate or where the setting demands it, for instance, make it more internationally accessible. Does that make sense?
For capitalism's sake, if nothing else.
Oh, yeah. Oh, geez.
Yeah.
I will do anything for money, within reason. Sign up to my OnlyFans. Oh, don't talk about that.
There you go.
I will say to Eva, just before Barrett goes, I did try that for CGL recently. I tried writing a conspicuously American piece, and it was hard. It was difficult, kind of changing tracks from the kind of British way that I'm very used to at this point. I'm very used to reading as well, into that more American stuff. But it was a good challenge and something I want to try more of. So. Yeah. Get the link if you sign up to my newsletter.
Here's the thing I've learned from my friendship with Richard on here is I have made, and I think it's true of Richard too, but you meet so many people that are so different from you from all over the world, and you really do realize that even if we have big differences, at the end of the day, we're all the same, and we're all friends at a core level. So, the differences.
I think it's good to have friends who are kind of like diverse and not just like
absolutely
yes men who agree with you. Because I have friends who I am very similar with, kind of personality with, ideologically wise or etc. or writing wise. But I also have lots of people in this. Listen, watch it. But I also have people who write different stuff and have different kind of things, and I want to have a diverse kind of circle. I don't want just to be surrounded by people who are like me. I find that in general circles of life, it's unhealthy to be in that echo chamber. It's unhealthy to just have people who just agree with you. It's good to have those contrasting points of view and opinions that you're
that
exposed
explains
to. Because
the pineapple pizza.
Now wait a minute here.
Hey,
watch it.
It's good. It's delicious. It's sweet and savory.
It counts. It counts as healthy.
Pineapple pizza
It's
war.
fruit.
I sense a T-shirt coming, Richard. I don't know about you.
All I'm gonna say is spread the love.
Here we go.
But yeah, I hope that answers your question, Barry. In that
Yeah.
we have, I think we all have very, we have some different things that we may agree or disagree with on, but that's fine. I don't think, ugh, Barrett's going off on that again. Ugh. I mean, I may internally do that,
Right?
but I filter it out. But I think it's good to have a circle and a community that isn't just
Like us.
my way or the highway. Yeah, I think this panel itself is very kind of, we have good approach. We all have a different way of doing things. But we all can respect that we all have our own way of doing it, and there's no wrong opinions here. There's just different opinions. How's that?
I like that.
Lovely.
Every writer does it different, and we learn from everybody we encounter. Barrett, any other questions before you have to go? I know that.
I'm sorry, I have to run. I hate working as much as any other person, but
respect, brother.
I hate to run.
Handle your business.
Yes. When do we find out about the pool, Adrian?
I believe I'm going to let it run for a week since I didn't launch it until today. I'll let it run until next Tuesday.
Okay.
And then with the results from next Tuesday, I'll probably put up a short little video. Like, my channel's on hiatus, but I can do a quick 5-minute video and update everybody.
Is it looking forward to seeing who wins?
Sorry?
Is it only in your newsletter where folks can vote?
Yes, you have to sign up for the newsletter if you're not already.
Not to Richard. You have to go
and
to.
you'll get not his, mine.
But saying that, I did get you a lot of sign-ups, Adrian.
You did indeed. So there's a link down below if you want to go to it. The best way is just go to booksbyadrian.com, and there's a link across the top for the book club. Sign up for the book club if you're not already, and you'll get the link in the email. If you are already signed up, then the link is already waiting for you in your email. Cool. Go vote for it, and we'll collect over the next week, and we'll figure it out. We'll come back in August with the new book.
Sweet. I'm excited. I'll community post it. I'll pull the link from your description box.
Awesome. Perfect.
All right, everybody. I love you all. Take it easy, and I'll see you soon.
Bye.
Peace
Bye,
out, Bart.
Richard. You did great.
Ladies, I would like to give the two of you the floor for any questions that you brought ready for Mr. Richard that we have not asked yet. If you have
Go
any.
ahead, Shannon.
Oh, I kind of already asked my questions because
Okay.
it's just.
Jenna, how about you?
What musical songs are on your playlist when you write? Because I know you're a big theater fan.
Big theatre fan, kind of ish. It depends what's on, to be honest. I kind of have quite an eclectic mix. I have like my normal music, like I listen to like normal stuff. But when I'm writing, for me, it's got to be kind of like soundtracks, non-vocal stuff, because I find that very distracting. But I've got to have something on in the background that kind of gets me in the vibe, gets me in the mood. I would say game soundtracks are quite good.
I was just about to ask that. Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, game soundtracks. Actually, I don't think I actually own any movie soundtracks. It's just game soundtracks, which I think are
soundtracks. Yeah, I mostly do movie soundtracks, but that's just because in general I'm not a huge gamer. I dabble in it. I'm not huge into it, but I watch a lot of movies, and if a score is hitting me, especially if it applies to a particular genre, then I'll save that away. So if I'm writing crime genre, I throw up crime thriller,
I think there's some good stuff on YouTube. I found like a dark ambient playlist on YouTube, and I've saved that. That's kind of good.
There's actually a playlist on my channel where I've accumulated a couple of those, especially in particular the ones that I think are good for genre. But weirdly, I also find the concentration ones, the ones where it's not scores or music necessarily, is more like rhythmic
binaural
tones.
beats.
Yeah.
White noise, brown noise.
You wouldn't think of it, but it really does like get you into a rhythm, and you just go, and there's no like stopping, and there's no new input. It just kind of flows, and you just keep going with your writing.
So, for instance, when I was writing my new kind of techno thriller book that's going to be hopefully coming out in September, it's called Price War. Find out more about that book in my newsletter. I was listening to kind of like electronic, kind of like post-rock kind of stuff, and that kind of really got me in the vibe. And for horror or this book, again, you kind of got to go down a bit like that rabbit hole, not like the traditional kind of like organ, Phantom of the Opera. I did not write this with Phantom of the Opera on repeat. Please rest assured that would drive me nuts.
What is inside your mind?
Yeah, I mean now thinking about it, I kind of wish I had.
Okay, I did think of a question. Oh, sorry.
Oh, go on, Shannon.
No, I think you were still talking, so I don't want to interrupt your answer.
I just kind of think you got to find your kind of music choice, and what you're writing has to have a kind of synchronicity to it, because one can inspire the other. I mean, you wouldn't be writing like a really taut, emotional death scene or whatever, and be listening to like, Baby Shark.
And you're happy.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm a teacher, and I taught during Baby Shark. That is horror to me. So,
but Shannon, before you ask your question, I was just piggybacking off of that with the music that I listen to when I'm writing. Sometimes, especially with the genre stuff, if the music is picking up, crescendoing, excitement is happening, I tend to write more excitedly in the scene.
Like, you get more frenetic, you get more like...
more stuff is going on, the characters are getting into it, whatever it is, and then as the music like dives down. I tend to find that like, oh, now I've found like a nice little like calm area here that I can flesh out some stuff before it builds up. Yeah. It's weird how it like influences the scene that I'm writing. It's odd.
Again, I kind of feel like there is that sort of synchronicity between one can influence the other at the same time. So it's interesting.
Shannon, your question.
Oh yeah. So if this was to be made into a movie, who do you see playing the different parts?
I don't think it'd be made into a movie. I think it would work as a mini-series on something like Netflix.
Oh,
Agreed.
yes.
I will tell you my rationale for that before I then answer Shannon's actual question.
I think I know where you're going with it, and I like it already. Go.
Yeah.
Because the most recent one I watched was the Jack Reacher miniseries on Amazon Prime, and that was phenomenal. That was a fantastic adaptation of a very good book. And what I think worked well for that as opposed to like a film, because obviously we're going to go into a bit of a Jack Reacher kind of tangent here, because I quite like those books. I do quite like them. They're very good. The films, because you only get like 2.5 hours of running time, you have to kind of compress a whole book into that. With the miniseries, there was 8 hours of time, so the story had time to kind of, blossom and bloom as it did in the book. So I think that would be much better for like an adaptation of a book, is a miniseries such as that.
I thought you were going to say that because of it being an ensemble cast, such very different characters, instead of telling the stories omnisciently through all of them, you could focus on a different character's experience every week, every episode. And therefore you can kind of lean into the whole haunted house aspect of it.
That'd be interesting.
Each of them is having something.
That's exactly what I was thinking of.
That's what I thought you were going. Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
To be honest, I don't have any actual actors' names on the tip of my tongue to play. I suppose one of the things I should do when I'm researching characters, because the trouble with my kind of planning is I've always been a plot first writer. It's plot. The plot's got to happen. So I'm very much a kind of genre anti-literary fiction writer, if you will, because I like stuff to happen in my books. So I kind of think of the plot and the characters usually, and this is kind of changing as I get older and get more experienced and better, is that the characters just exist to have the plot happen to them. So I think in this book that certainly is the case, but I'm trying now to make sure the characters have some agency and they not just have the plot happen to them, but that they have an influence on what happens in the plot. They have an influence on how things play out. So that's kind of like my goal for the next books. But to answer your question, Shannon, I don't have any specific actors in mind. I think if I was researching characters in the future, I would try looking up some actors just to kind of get the look and feel of these characters. That's something I want to work on going forward. Is that a satisfactory answer?
Yeah, I can get that.
Okay.
I don't necessarily.
I do have one book. I do have one book. It's not this book. I do have one idea of one of the characters. The antagonist would be J.K. Simmons.
Always a good pick for anything.
Yeah, I'm sure I could work him in here as the American developer.
He might make a good architect, actually.
I was thinking that too, Adrian.
Okay. He's good in everything, isn't he?
He's the best. He's awesome. Yeah, he's always good.
And I think your architect has a very strong personality in the book. So I think he'd be easy one to find someone to
Thank you for being with us today, Ava.
Thank you, Ava.
For all the questions. So, guys, do we have any other big questions that we wanted to cover with Mr. Richard Holliday today?
What's the next debut date again for the next book?
Good question.
Ooh, well, I'm kind of gunning for a September release for my next book. It's currently I know I've really got to pull my finger out now, haven't I?
Get on that line at it.
I don't want to rush it yet. I'm giving Dan plenty to do. It's currently coming to the end of the second draft. It's now going to be going to my editor, Dan, bless him. I've got to be nice to him. It's going this week to him, hopefully back by like the end of July. Then I've got August and September to kind of get it ready and get it proofread, get it prepped, get the marketing done, etc. So I think that's achievable. I'm probably going to go for like an end of September release. But if you want up-to-date information on that release and when the date is released and other such things, you know what to do.
I'm already there.
Yeah.
For a long time.
Yeah.
Shannon's like, I get it. I'm going.
You can join my burgeoning community of excellent fans.
I honestly think he was like the first newsletter I signed up for that I knew from AuthorTube.
There you go. Nice.
My reputation kind of preceded me. No, I'm really pleased with how the newsletter
Oh, you were
has done.
really, when I met you in November last year, that in November is when I really got in the AuthorTube community, you were always doing the sign, always, a whole lot.
And I haven't advised, it's still literally just an A4 sheet in a plastic pocket because, let's face it.
Yeah, we've noticed. Yeah.
It works, and it's part of your brand
It's
now.
effective.
It
is part of the
works.
brand, yes. Yes, it is part of the brand. Richard, I ask you now, was there anything you wanted to cover today that we didn't get to?
I think we covered everything that I wanted to get to. I just want to say I'm really grateful of the opportunity to be as part of the Books by Adrian Tuber Book Club. It was great to be a part of this. I had a lot of fun campaigning for it.
Yeah, you had
twice. I can't do that again for a while because that was stress. And that was good fun. I think this is a wonderful forum for independent books to be showcased on. I'm looking forward to seeing who the next lucky winner is. And I think the panel is really strong. I think we're going from strength to strength here. I think you're going from strength to strength as well. So yeah, I just want to say this was a great opportunity. I want to thank everyone in the chat and anyone who has interacted with me, read the book, and reviewed, rated, or even just just been there in my kind of like orbit, shall we say. Very grateful to their support. Can't say anything, can't really, articulate my appreciation to the community enough. Really. I just want to say, I think the community is wonderful. I love being part of it. And I just want to see it grow. And if you think I'm going to go away, you are mistaken, because I am going to be here causing chaos for the foreseeable.
We're here for the chaos, brother. We're here for it.
Harmless chaos. Harmless chaos.
Of course.
I would say thank you for being so courageous to put your book forward.
Agreed.
Yeah, because I think I knew to a degree that it wasn't a perfect book, and I'm happy that it's not a perfect book, because I think none of my books are perfect. This is not perfect. This is something I've learned from a lot. And I just think it's important to be kind of like humble and, show that humility and just be appreciative and just know that the next is always going to be better. Always. It doesn't matter if I've written one book or 100 books. There's always something else to learn. And, like I said, I think the support I got for this, despite the cajoling I had to do on Instagram, which was good fun, it was stressful. Yeah, I'm looking forward to coming back and doing that all again for a better product next time.
Beautiful, man. That's awesome. I want to remind everybody at home what the picks are for Tuber Book Club, what the nominees are. We have Tracker by Bethany Votaw. We have The Infinite by M.K. Williams. Beastly by Ginny Noble. Now, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right. Dulcie's Legacy by Margaret Pinnard. And One Road In by Hannah Palmer. All very, very
female?
I want to read.
I was about to say they are all ladies, which would be wonderful.
All ladies.
So the Tuber Book Club will not be a sausage fest as of
not anymore. Well, I'm ever grateful that both Jenna and Shannon are very reliable. They're usually here, and even when they couldn't be here, they show up eventually, like today. So.
Better late than never.
That in and of itself, I feel, is a huge accomplishment for the channel, because it is kind of a sausage fest on this channel sometimes, and I don't want it to be. 5 out of my 8 point of view characters in the book are female, so I don't know.
I mean, the child that dies in this book was the little girl. I mean, saying something.
That is
2 out of 7 are males in mine, so there you go. In my experience.
There you go. I'm
used to being one of the guys. I'm the youngest of 5 kids and the only girl, so it don't bother me none either. So.
Well, we're all here. Good. We're all here for it, for sure.
I think there's 5 very, 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 deserving nominees there. So whoever wins, they're going to have a great time in the hot seat.
I had to count. You're right. It is 5. Yeah.
I was paying attention.
I want to read all of them. I really do. I honestly don't care who wins. I want to read every book on this list.
I don't care who wins either, because one of them's not me. No, they're all wonderful books, I'm sure. Whoever does succeed will love the opportunity.
Are you putting yourself out there to campaign for future books? Like, hey, Richard, can I hire you to campaign for my book for the
By the
No.
time the next round comes around, his book will be out
no.
and eligible to be
Possibly.
on again. So yeah, absolutely.
We shall see. We shall see.
We shall indeed.
I don't want to do that for a little while. I need to have a little break from that because that was fun but stressful.
I think that we should reach out to everybody on this list and let them know, hey, your book is one of the nominees. If you want to let your audience know so they can go and vote.
I have to say, the campaign was fun. It would be nice if everyone was campaigning for it because that kind of really puts it increases the stakes, doesn't it? It kind of
sure does.
adds a bit of a dimension to the excitement.
I just don't want to force anybody to do it. You know, it's like they didn't ask to be on here. Just like we can't force them to do the interview. I hope that every author we read will agree to the interview, but who knows, you know.
It took a lot of cajoling to get me on your channel, didn't it?
Oh yeah, I had to strong arm you for sure, threaten your family, the whole nine.
I think he threatened his own family enough.
He basically beat his way into my channel.
Yeah, he did.
I was just like, I'm going to be here. That's it.
Hey man, you should run for office because you know what you're doing. Yes, let's read all.
Careful what you wish for, there, Adrian.
Well, all right, y'all. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to give each of you a chance to say goodbye to everybody in case you want to plug anything as we go. We're going to start with Richard and then work our way back all the way up to me. Richard, please take it away. Let the people know who you are and what you want to do.
I'm that guy who's named down there. Yeah, I'm Richard. I'm really happy to be here. Thank you. I'm the author of Nightmare Tenant and more books to come. So again, sign up to the newsletter. But yeah, I just want to thank everyone for the opportunity. I look forward to having more books out, more books, better books, just trying everything out. So definitely come and join me on my author journey over on all the various social medias and my newsletter and other such things. So I'd love to see you there.
Thank you, Barrett. Shannon, how about you?
Did you just call me Barrett?
Oh my God, I did call you Barrett.
Yeah. Saying, that was Richard.
Yeah, whoopsies.
Yes. Hello,
I
everybody.
was looking at Barrett's name on I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm Shannon. I write under the pen name S.C. Houston, and I am the author of the Clash of Goddesses series, which is a YA fantasy. I also have a YouTube channel under the same name of S.C. Houston, and you can find content there about writing and my self-publishing journey, what's working for me, what's not working for me. I also have weekly writing sprints, productivity sprints every Friday morning at 9 a.m., although I'm only going to be on half of the month for July, and then I'll be back to it every Friday after July. And I am one half of the duo of the first AuthorTube Writing Conference coming to the YouTube AuthorTube community July 15th through the 17th, 2022. We have over 40 speakers, and we hope that you will come there and let all of your writer friends know about the conference, because this is a conference for writers. And it doesn't matter if they're on YouTube or if they're not. Tell your Discord friend groups, tell Instagram, tell everybody who has writing connections. Let them know about this free event for them. And I am also 1/3 of the trio for the self-publishing tips and podcast group. Wait, I forgot to say, for the AuthorTube Writing Conference, my partner is Jenna O'Malley, who is in the chat with us or in here today. I'm also part of the Self-Publishing Tips and Tricks podcast, where we interview authors about their self-publishing journey. And my co-hosts are Morgan Lee and Ben Pegg from Running to Write, who had that wonderful cover. That wonderful cover that we saw earlier.
All right, I'm going to put you out of your misery, Shannon. Jenna, why don't you go ahead?
I'm the other half of that thing she mentioned called the AuthorTube Writing Conference. It does debut July the 15th, so we are counting down a matter of, 20 days or less at this point, I think?
It's coming.
It's coming. I have a call to action video coming out on my channel next week, so I can get away from doing solely sprints again. The call to action will include an announcement about a back-to-school series I'm doing for authors, and, of course, my rebrand for the Arson Away Forest Alliance is going on. And you can find me, my Dash of Romance, my nerdy references over on my YouTube channel, Facebook, or Instagram, or my website.
And we will have a video coming out for the AuthorTube Writing Conference probably next week sometime.
Somewhere July 1st or 2nd.
July 1st. Oh, okay, July 1st. And it's going to be about the giveaways and how you can make sure that you can enter the giveaway as much as possible to win all these awesome prizes that we're going to have.
Also, I'm speaking at the AWC.
I was just about to say, we have a speaker right here.
Nice.
One of our 44 speakers.
Our animation designer for our videos is right there too.
Me? Yes,
Yep.
I did do that. Yay! I'm excited for that thing, man. I can't wait. I'm happy to be a spectator this time. If you guys do it again,
We
jump
are.
in
We already
next
have the dates picked out, which we're going to discuss on the last day of the conference.
time. All right, then I'm
Ooh.
jumping in for that one for sure. My book will be up by then, so that'll be fun.
Yay.
Guys, thank you so very much. I'm Adrian, Books by Adrian. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Sign up to the newsletter. We're going on hiatus after Sunday, after the last episode of Write the Darn Story. And
Write the bloody story.
Write the bloody story. And after that, we go on hiatus for the month of July. I'll put up a video announcing the winner of the poll. But other than that, we won't be back until August. So if you want to know everything that's coming up in August, including Livestream Sunday Season 5, the return of Typewriters Podcast, and the return of this very book club, then sign up for the newsletter, and you'll be the first to know. You'll get links, you'll get schedules, you'll get calendars, all that good stuff. I am very, very much obsessive about being organized ahead of time. So you'll get
Need a
all that stuff.
spreadsheet.
No one actually uses any of that stuff, by the way. I just make it and release it and I'm like, here, guys, here it is. And everybody's like, awesome. And then nobody uses it. It's fine. I do it for me. Love you guys so very much. Thank you, guys.
And comment.
Oh, which one? Let me see.
Richard's last comment there.
Are they winning an actual poll? Yes. Yes. I will be mailing them a stripper pole to put up in their living room.
I'll do
Of
it.
course. I know you.
James in the club, right there.
Cue the video of Richard on Instagram, like on his pole. All right, y'all. We're getting loopy. Peace out. Right on, writers.
Bye. I think he froze.
Are we still live?
We are. He froze.
Internet gremlins. No, we have to go. We
Right,
have energy and places to
It's
be.
never going to end. I'm going to wait forever now.
You broke your way in, Richard, and you broke the internet. Well
Maybe it's his
done.
comment about the poll. Oh.
Oh, fuck. Here we go.
Fine.